A very warm welcome to all you wonderful educators and wonderful viewers of Universal Mentors Association. Uh, we are on the fifth panel of the day, a very, very important panel discussing, the core of education, the very, very beginning of education. I think the early years is the most important, and I think unfortunately had been the most neglected sector of all when it comes down to education. So we'll be talking about the future of early childhood education, how preschools are surviving the pandemic. Now the pandemic is over. Hopefully things get better. Without further ado, let me introduce quickly to Ms. Sneha Rathod, who's the CEO of Sanford Group of Schools, Mr. Amol Arora, who's the Managing Director of Shamrock and Shamford Group of Schools. Uh, then we have Mr. Preetham Kumar Agarwal, who will be joining us, as I just got a message in some time from who's the founder director of Hello Kids, and Ms. Sumita Malik, who's the head early years from Shiv Nadar School. So, a very warm welcome to all you wonderful speakers. I know we are running a little late, but we have unfortunately a couple of speakers dropping out for this panel. Uh, but nonetheless, I would request Neha ma'am to please take this session away and please take care of the panels. I think Preetham sir will be joining us in a short while, and he'll join in while the discussion is going on. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful panel.
Thank you, Sandeep, for the wonderful introduction. And it's such a pleasure to be with this lovely panel, Amolji, Sumita, ma'am, and we're going to have Preetham also on the panel soon. And thank you, Sandeep, for putting up this wonderful conference, which is of course going to be very informative and very interactive. And this panel is all about early years, and as you said, that early years in last 2 years have been really, really hurt. But to start today's panel, I just want to first of all capture the excitement that we have in early years. As everything has opened up, we can see the little ones coming to the school. The world looks more chirpier now for all of us. So starting with you, Amolji, what is your excitement level? What is happening? And how does it feel like that the schools are back to life?
Yeah, so obviously the excitement is there, and excitement is amongst the educators, parents, children. I mean, children don't want to go home, and earlier it used to be the case where children would come to school, and the time they would cry because parents don't want to leave the child doesn't want to leave, and it was a terrible time. The separation anxiety was pretty something we were used to having, but now it's actually the reverse. If you ask parents to come and pick up the child after an hour, neither the parents show up, neither the child wants to go home. So it's everyone's more than done with staying at home. For children to interact with other children, which was a natural part of growing up, so that was not happening. So I think it's about time, and right now all signs look good. We don't see any wave coming anywhere in the world. So fingers crossed till then.
Yeah, that's right. And what about you, Sumita ma'am? How are you feeling, and how is the response that you're getting after reopening?
Very much just like what Moji just beautifully articulated. No child wants to go home, and every teacher is excited, and so are we, because I think being at home for these almost 2 years have been even parents have seen a lot that they can't really handle children the way actually school and the teachers handle them. And also it has been a advantage for our children. Homes have become more like rather I would just say schools have become more like a positive area for them to visit than just being cooped up in those four walls of the home, because they had enough of those four walls. Now they wanted to go out, and they wanted to explore, and they wanted to meet other children, and thankfully they are able to do that. And yes, it's an overwhelming response from our parents and teachers and students, and we have almost 90% of our children coming back on campus. So it's amazing. And it is certainly a very, very happy state to be in right now. And yes, let's hope that there are no other waves and we are able to take this ahead.
That's wonderful. I mean, because all of us, before this pandemic, this wave had gone, we were thinking that when schools reopen, how are we going to convince the parents? How are we going to let them off the fear that even the children are not vaccinated? That will they be able to send their children to school and all those things? But to our surprise, we did not encounter such challenges. I mean, the parents are happily sending their kids. The kids are coming happily to the school. They're not having any sort of separation anxiety. In fact, they are more glad to come to the school. So, I mean, of course, it's something that we had been looking for. But on the same note, as we see that the school have opened up, we also see the market in itself, the investors, and have also things have also opened up in that arena as well. So, Amolji, what is the scenario in terms of franchising? If we talk about preschool franchising, how does that space look like? How excited do you see people, looking for investing in preschools and opening up?
Yes, it is still with caution. I mean, it's not the same response as parents because children, because for investors, there is that element of caution. What if I invest and then again we have wave after wave? I mean, nobody could imagine that we would be closed for 2 years. We were talking a few months when the thing started. So I think there is a lot of apprehension still. People who are a bit confused on whether they should now invest, especially those who have rental properties, because is it the right time? And as a franchisor, also we are kind of looking at it a bit with closely monitoring everything that's happening. Is it the right time? You don't want to misguide somebody into investing something and then suddenly the new thing comes up. So I think that we can expect that degree of apprehension to be there. Also, we knew that schools would reopen much quicker this time from the wave, thanks to what happened in Bombay and the intense lobbying with Aditya Thackeray that preschools also should open quickly. We don't need to keep them shut, because last time when the Delta wave happened, we could have opened the schools in July, but everybody, including AIIMS and all, was saying that second wave is inevitable. Then we said, okay, no, aane wala September. Then okay, let the Diwali season come. Then nothing happened. So we all learned that nobody knows anything right now. That's the kind of environment right now. So that period of uncertainty is not good for anything which involves investment, when you don't have clarity of what's going to happen down the line. So anybody who's thinking of opening a school will always have those questions in their mind. But at the same time, a lot of schools had closed down. A lot of standalone schools would not have the support, especially preschools, because they could not hire the kind of talent that maybe a K-12 school could hire, and the kind of resources they could invest in ensuring technology. And also the preschool, for a 2-year-old, online classes don't really work for majority of children. So the market shrunk, and that also, a lot of schools could not survive that because the market suddenly became very small. So on the other hand, the opportunity also is there, that if they do take that leap of faith, as we're all saying, that's the kind of response the market is getting. We're getting, all preschools are getting daily walk-ins every day. So those who are brave enough, the risk and reward is there. That risk element is definitely there. There's no sugarcoating that. Nobody can claim that the COVID has ended. This is the last thing we'll ever see. So, but those who are being brave enough, they are getting that reward as well. So that's where I think everyone's thinking and discussing.
That's true. I mean, on the same path as you just put it, that of course, right now investors are a little afraid. Even, of course, as none of us know that what is going to happen next. Is there going to be another wave? Is it endemic or whatever? I mean, nobody can predict that. But of course, and that's the reason why we are being very, very cautious in even guiding the investors as well. But at the same time, as you said, that so many schools have shut down. We all know about it, that so many preschools have shut down during this pandemic. And now that the preschools have opened, we are seeing such a great response in terms of admissions. There's so many children out there who are ready to go to these preschools, but Now the ratio has really gone opposite. The schools are less and the children are more. How do you think are we going to tackle such a situation?
That's good. I mean, that's good for the preschool sector, for entrepreneurs. As I said, those who are being brave enough are getting rewarded on that front. So I was interviewing somebody for a position for a job, and at the last minute he backed off. He said, "I am from this hometown. That's my hometown, and I was planning to send my child to my wife was looking for a nursery school. There were about 8 nursery schools in our area. All of them closed down. So now I have dropped plans. I'm moving back from Delhi to my hometown, and I'm going to open a nursery school myself." So so that's what's happening. So I think it's good. I mean, the sector deserves a lot of relief. There's a lot of people who have hurt financially during the last 2 years. So I think we deserve that. And but again, that supply was always there. So for parents' perspective, they always are going to have good choices. The ones who were actually good were surviving. They were doing well. They were able to manage. They adapted. The teachers, the leaders, they all adapted. They learned how to ensure that children keep learning during the lockdown. Somehow they made their revenues, if not at pre-COVID levels, at a level which they could manage their salaries. And for those who survived, obviously, if you've gone through the worst, then these times are easy, and of course the good ones are surviving. So for parents, they still have the choice of good preschools. In fact, it's better, because other earlier parents were very confused. I mean, after going to 4, 5, 6 nursery schools, they would get confused. Kahan I admission? Everything looks very similar. Everyone's bright, colorful. Everyone has picture books with lots of nice pictures. How do I choose the right school? But now the ones that are left are actually the good ones. So the parents, I think it's a good. It's not that where the supply has come down, so now parents don't have a choice. So kab kya kare, kahin bhejna padega. But I think most markets, especially even in tier 2 cities, also not maybe tier 3, it's not that good, but in tier 2 cities, preschools have managed to go through it, and I think it's easier for parents to find good preschools now.
I mean, that's very true. And finally, no more are we going to use the word mushrooming in preschools, because there's no more mushrooming as of now. I mean, of course, it's going to take a while for the mushrooming to come back.
That's the thing about mushrooms. They grow very quickly. So
Yeah, it'll come up. It'll come up quickly.
Yeah.
So moving on, I mean, as Amolji just said, Sumita ma'am, how he interviewed somebody, and that person did not take the opportunity because he thought of opening a preschool himself. But I mean, there's something unique that I'm encountering in terms of hiring a new human resource and things like that so many people have gone to their hometowns. So many people have started doing something of their own. They've started off with small businesses, because now so many things are selling online or Instagram and things like that now even hiring human resource, especially from the education sector, because people in the education sector, of course, the schools were not able to retain them, so they would have to let them go off. So they've switched their profession. They've started off something of their own, or they've moved to their hometown. Or I also see that, I mean, there's so many things that happen. So how are you also finding this as a challenge? If yes, then how are you coping up with this?
So Sneha, yes, I know that a lot of schools had that kind of challenge, and luckily we in Shiv Nadar School, we have been hiring a lot of educators across. If I would just talk about this past 2 years, we've almost hired 80 people across from nursery to grade 12. It certainly depends on each organization. However, when I say this, there has been a challenge of that connecting with the person. Even if you hire new people online, since you haven't met the person physically, you can do your inductions, you can train the person. Still in the physical environment, the kind of ecosystem what you give to the person who's whether it's a child or whether it's an educator, the kind of environment you give to a person, the value system and the ethos what a particular school believes in, you're not really able to give that online, because it's a very limited time when you are meeting the person for, and you are not able to bring that out. And when I say this, it also, the online platform also gave an opportunity to connect with the person, even if they were sitting in their hometown. So that was also an advantage. So I would say it was both. It was good because you were able to even sit in your own hometown and be connected, but the connectivity was certainly an issue. And hiring new people, I would say the people, like what Amolji very rightly said, that those who were bold enough to either reopen or to continue or to be there, they were the ones who had more choice to choose from. And we were in that manner lucky to get good educators and not any. And so I think that was the advantage, if I can say. And yes, I know that not every organization had that kind of an advantage. There were many organizations who had to lay off a lot of people. And we also know many educators who also were looking for good schools to get in, and schools were not ready to take. So there were a lot of things, and your heart really goes out for them, because good educators are not able to, some of them are single bread owners. So it was difficult. These past 2 years were difficult for a lot of people. Yeah.
Right. So of course, as we have opened the schools also now, one of the challenges that we've been discussing is, with these little ones, I mean, with the elder ones you could still take care of certain things, but with these little ones, how do you sort of implement the COVID norms? Something like social distancing, something like, eating from your own tiffins and things like that. I mean, you can't really stop these little ones, these 2-year-old ones. You can't. How? So what is it, Amolji, that you are doing in your schools? How are you guiding your branch heads and your franchisees to take care of the COVID norms?
And that was last year. This year, I think it's all gone for a toss. Neither the parents care.
I was expecting that.
You go into any place, you see those floor stickers and like, "Kaun khada ho raha hai? Dhakka maar ke sab khade hue hain," thanks to the new liquor policy of Delhi government. I think everyone's now the whole. It's not as bad as as a common flu, but it's just one level above it now. I think the kind of scare that is there, it's almost. So I think generally also, I mean, if you're looking at the risk reward ratio, that risk element has definitely come down where people don't want it. It's not possible also for a child. I mean, last year when everybody was talking about this, I think that's why I think preschools are always the last to open, because it's just not possible to enforce. Then you put the teachers also in danger. So everyone was really, really scared. 2020 was when it was unknown, when we saw those pictures of people dying on the streets of Italy. And what happened? So that was scary. We don't know what's hurting us. So then you have to keep your teachers safe. You want to keep the children safe from each other. Then all those protocols or documents, manuals were being spread. Everyone's reading them and saying, "Acha, yahan par." People are setting up tunnels inside the school. You enter through that chemical tunnel. I don't know what kind of nonsense was happening. Radioactivity things being shot. No one knew anything that was happening. It was just everything was getting sold under that panic thing. Sanitizers were sold out in April 2020. As if I don't know, my whole sanitizer stock has got expired, because I think we stocked so much of it. USA was stocking up.
They're just hanging on the wall.
Yeah, so we don't. I don't even remember when I last used it. Now, US was stocking up on toilet paper. We were stocking up on sanitizers, as if what's going to happen. So I think it's not something that I think parents are even asking now about. What about social distancing? They have बच्चे को रख लो. हम 1 घंटे में आएंगे, and I'll come up 2 hours actually, and that's what's happening inside right now. It's they're liking it. I think parents are also going there. Air prices have gone up. The number of people traveling by air. Marriages are happening. So I think it's the scare has gone
up.
up.
Full, absolutely full.
And so that whole thing is going to happen, right? It's almost like we're coming back, and we want to compensate for the last 2 years what happened. So after Delta, yes, there was that scare. This question was there that, how do we maintain social distancing? Drawing those crosses on the classes. We saw the pictures on China where people are putting glass shields on the furniture, and I don't know what that happened, because air is anyway circulating between children. So how is that
If
Is
you
it a
say it's
direct?
airborne, then of course.
If it's unless it's a sneeze or something, I don't know how that was. But everyone's just trying to do something, and sometimes it was just the government's trying to show that they're doing something. For example, that's why schools were always closed so early as a panic sign of panic, where even though health experts were saying you should not close schools again, the risk reward kind of things. 20 crore children went out of school. Many of them will not be coming back into the education sector. We've lost a lot of them. Similarly, many teachers have we lost teachers who, as you said, started selling stuff on Instagram. They became tutors. So now, if there's a parent who needs an online class and you're teaching for little children, you only need 1 hour. Not no one wants more 5 hours of classes. So why do you need to go to a school? Then why don't you just hire a tutor? So there were more than teachers who are willing to do that. So teachers certainly have this whole day planned of tutorials they're doing. So if you offer them 30,000 rupees, they say, "Isse zyada to main kama rahi hu tuition se. Why would I come to a school?"
I have people who are coming and telling me that I can only work till 1:30 because post that I have these classes to take care and I'm earning a lot there. So if 1:30 it's okay and this is the salary I want, if you're okay with it, I'm on it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So this is happening. This is good in a way that if they are teaching, that means higher salaries will attract better talent, because that's always a question of the problem in the education sector. Everyone's talking about the teaching quality. How do we improve the teacher quality? And it would not happen where if you can't do anything, you become a teacher. That kind of thought was there. So how would we attract good talent? Why would a topper in a classroom choose teaching as a career if there was money to be paid? But then how do you get the schools to pay more, private schools to pay more money if the fees is limited by what the market can pay? So it was almost like a chicken and egg situation. But I think this has forced now the salaries to go up. This would mean the fees would go up. But in the process, the parents only will benefit, because now you'll get better talent. People who have adapted to online learning, who can teach in an online learning environment, teachers who are comfortable with technology. Those who are not have gone the way of dinosaurs. So there's a huge need now for good people now to enter this segment. And I think and because of an early childhood, it's almost like earlier you could say 20,000 rupees, anybody could get a job in a call center. Now 30,000 rupees, if you're a half decent lady, you can get a job in early childhood education. There's a huge need. There are more openings right now than candidates right now. And so I think this is good for the sector, because we will attract now people which were moving from us to BPOs. I think we'll see a reverse flow happening now.
Yeah, because this is the first time that we are experiencing such a kind of scenario. I mean, otherwise we would have, if you post an opening, you would have a huge line of candidates coming in. And that too, the candidates who are ready to negotiate, who have skills and still are coming at decent salaries. But if you see now, because there's a lot of people who have worked on their skills and, they've started this.
Yes. Just like YouTube has democratized media. If you are good in speaking, you don't need to go through Bombay and set up to ask producers, "Mujhe chance dijiye, mujhe chance." You can set up your own channel and you're great and you get followers. Similarly, now teachers who are good online and can teach well, they have, through technology, they can reach out to the end consumer, the customers sitting in their hometown, wherever they are. So that's good for these people who have actually upskilled themselves, and I think that's great.
I see so many people, they've also curated these kits as well for children, and they're selling it through Instagram. And you get this kit, and I'm going to give you like 1 hour daily to your child online and things like that. And she's reaching out everywhere in India. I've seen a couple of these teachers also doing this. So I mean, a lot of dynamic.
If I can just add something, I think this online platform has also helped the teachers who are wanting to upscale their own skills.
Absolutely.
Webinars and a lot of these kind of online discussions have been happening, and teachers are gaining a lot from this. So they have really scaled up their own skills. And that has also been helping them. So
the beauty is they can do this sitting at their hometowns. They don't have to move to a big city. If their husband gets transferred, they always have to change their careers. And now they're not sacrificing. They feel this is better. I can be anywhere. And if I'm creating some value to somebody, and I can be, and people are happy to pay, I don't need to be linked to a school, and I can do my thing. So that's good for the teachers, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, that's good for the teacher. And of course, we need to have different sort of mindset and strategy to onboard more human resource. at the same
The
time.
schools are not complaining. We are happy the schools are
Yeah.
open. We are hoping happy children are coming.
Yeah.
So even if you have to pay a little more, it's okay. That's
Of course.
that's
of
much
course.
better than not having any kids, and
Yeah,
having nothing to do.
and
So.
we had been always talking about skilled teachers and more updated teachers who are more open to experiment and creating something new and more innovation. And that's, of course, that's what we are getting on table right now. I mean, that's a brighter side of it, no doubt. On the same time, Sumita ji, I would want to ask because that's something very, very important. What do you think that how will you now, because we have realized in the pandemic that how important are social emotional skills in children, and it's really important that it's inculcated in schools as well. So how do you think you are trying to do that in your schools, or what are the ways that probably we can take care of social emotional skills in children?
Yeah, I think Sneha, this is something everybody. What you very rightly said, that everybody has realized that these are the most important skills. For not just for our children, but even for adults, even for teachers. This personal, social, emotional development is something which was always there as a part of early years education, but I don't know how much we were really focusing on that aspect. We were focusing more on the languages and the numeracy skills and so on and so forth. But the focus has now shifted. Languages will come, and the numeracy skills will come because of the kind of environment what we are going to be giving. But it is very important to have a well-being curriculum, or a personal social curriculum, which is a very strong and robust curriculum. So when we talk about that, and I can just share about my school. So what we are doing is that we are creating the C and the person social emotional curriculum into one strand, and we are since the day one, since the children have started coming, in fact even online, we've been doing a lot of these sessions which are interwoven into the entire curriculum, whether through stories or through circle times, where we are dealing with the emotional aspect of not just the children. We also have these circle times and these sessions separately for our teachers as well. Because if our teachers are emotionally stable, and because everybody saw a lot, we in our school itself, we had lost some of our very strong teachers during the second wave, and it was very hard for everybody, because we know how the second wave was. And that is when we all realize that well-being is something which is not only for our children, it has to be there for our teachers as well. And we are also trying to do certain sessions for our parents as well, because if the entire community, the teacher, the parent, and the child, everybody is emotionally settled, only then the child is going to be able to learn in the right manner. So yes, it is the focus. And also to share here, when we are going to be starting the next academic session, it is not going to be where we are going to be straight away diving deep into the curriculum, but we are planning a launchpad program where it's going to be 1.5 months, which is April to May, is going to be totally devoted to these strands. So whatever our children have missed throughout the past 2 years, we are going to be focusing more on developing that, so that children, whatever gap has come till now, I don't know how much are we going to be able to fill up, but yes, the intent is to work with our children to at least scaffold their learning to a point where they're able to take on the journey post, being able to be ready to take the next academic session the way they are supposed to. So yeah, that's what we are looking at.
Absolutely correct. I mean, you put it so nicely, that how wonderfully that you've been implementing it in your school. At the same time, how important it is right now when we talk about social emotional skills. And I see the children who are coming right now and the children who were coming pre-pandemic, they're too different. The way that they talk, and the kind of the conversations that they hold. I mean, of course, staying at home, they started speaking so much, so proactively, and at the same time, you feel that they were not really aware how going to school looks like, because they're coming for the first time. So of course, we could see that you have to work a lot on their social and emotional skills, how to really cooperate, tell them to be with each other in the classroom as well, and so many things henceforth. But I think it's a beautiful journey, and we feel too overwhelmed to have opened up finally, and to see these little ones coming to school every day, and getting a chance to really groom them, which we had been looking for a really long time now. It feels like ages. So yeah, and fingers crossed, we don't really want to see any more wave coming up. So let the children just come to the school, even if there is something called another wave, it just has to be so low that the schools don't shut down and the studies are not being hampered, or the learning experience of the children is not being hampered. So that's
Absolutely.
that's
May I just
Yeah.
add something here, Sneha? What you very rightly said, that children, now that they are coming to schools, and they are so very articulate, that you look at them and you feel that, wow, they're able to just speak their mind. I think that's the real education what they've got.
Yeah.
Our schools before the pandemic, we were just wanting them to be quiet and not wanting to share their own thought process. And I think that's the shift which has happened in the education system. A lot of schools are realizing it. A lot of parents are realizing it, that it's so important for the child to express their mind and express their thoughts, which is the true education which has happened. And yes, the other things, what they have missed, if they have missed, which are I think all the schools are trying to do, work around that. But I just thought that what you very rightly said, and I just wanted to pick that up and wanted to just share that is the true thing which has happened during these 2 years.
And also, in fact, what I've realized is that the kind of involvement that parents show now is just incredible. We had been craving for it for years. We had always been telling that for the preschool parents to come out and get more involved with your child. We had these parenting sessions where we would not see too much of parents turning up. So काफी प्रॉब्लम होती थी जब हम उनको समझाना शुरू करते थे, ये फाइन मोटर स्किल है, ये ग्रॉस मोटर स्किल है, इस टाइप की आप एक्टिविटी कराइए, ये this is how you have to work on their development skills and things like that. They would really not understand what we are saying. But now this is the brighter side of COVID, that the parents have got so involved in everyday progress of their child, and even the small changes they're able to see, and they're able to communicate to the school, which was greatly missing earlier. So I mean, of course, pros and cons of everything, but looking at the brighter side, everything at the end turns out to be good, and that's what we are hoping for. So thank you so much, everyone. It has been such a wonderful session. Thanks a lot for coming on this wonderful session. I hope you have a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you so much, Sandeep.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and apologies, last minute dropouts of the speaker had cut short the panel.
I told you something.
But the essence of the panel was really beautifully captured by all the panelists, and I really thank you from the bottom of my heart. Sneha ma'am, Amol sir, and Sumita ma'am, thank you so much for joining us for this amazing panel discussion, a very, very important panel for talking about the future of early education. To all the viewers out there, we'll soon be meeting you up with our final panel discussion for the day, one of a Digital Education Summit and Awards. Hope you have a wonderful time ahead. Thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.